Shalom Avrocha. So we had Parshas Vayetze, Yaakov and Beersheva, Vayel, which means that Yaakov went out. He left his Beersheva, Eretz Yisrael, and he went to Haran. So since he took a walk, we're going to be walking back a couple of days. So first of all, it's in the Torah, as we know, there is not necessarily the way it's written down is the time that it took place, which means that there's an event that's written down now, but really took place way further in the parshas. That's number one, and number two is that we know that anything that is adavar shebekadusha is nitzchi. Anything that is pure and is true, it's forever. So every moment is true. And it's forever, depending on where we tap into, what we tap into, what we connect to, and going. So that deeper truth cancels out the other truth, and this is how it works in our life, in the work of bitter, and the work of elevating ourselves. That the events that took place, a trauma or anything that took place. It's a part of the existence, but as we tap into a deeper truth, something more significant, something more closer to my yichidush benefesh, something close to the identity, it cancels out the stuff that's less of a truth, which means that we're going in something that is a painful process. A trauma is in period, it's in separation. And the truth is in Achdus, it's in oneness. And when we're in the oneness, deletes the separation. And that's really what you want to focus on as you are, as we're purging and releasing traumas and stuff that is holding one back from the past, as you were going move into the journey of going deeper into true, going into ourselves. So that's number one. Number two is that So Davanitzchi is so now we're going into the truth. Is Shabbos is the ultimate truth. Shabbos is the ultimate truth, and if we are in a sense, there is Shabbos is still with us, depending on where on the dial, where on the turning table we're tapping into, and what line we tap into. That's where we can still find the Shabbos. So Yaakov leaves Beersheva, he goes to Haran. Haran is, as we know, is Haran Af Sheba'elam. We know that it's one of the lower places, the lowest place. It's a place of period. It's a place of love and arami. It's a place where there's a lot of we're in Eretz Yisrael. Yaakov Avinu is protected. He's next to his father. It's kedusha. It's holy. It's everything is happening there. But he has to leave because his work is to go out there, and. He as he comes to the place, but so we just want to for a minute understand what the shemesh is. The shemesh is the sun. The sun is a ball of fire, but this ball of fire is being fed by it's an angel. It's a malach. It has an understanding. And that ball of fire is being fed by Creator, by the Eibishter. And it talks about Chassidus in depth about how it works. But really, what's more important is to understand that as we know that Asad Lave, as we all know that Hashem is going to remove the sun from its protector, from its narcotic, from whatever it's holding it, and the sun is going to go back to the way it was. From when the world was created. The moon, on the other hand, is smaller and it gives out less light. But understanding what that really means is that when the sun is out, we feel one way, our brain operates a certain way, our bodies operate a certain way, the food that we eat digests a certain way, it's supposed to eat during the day, not at night. And then when the night comes, the moon comes out, it's a different light. So the sun is directly created with our energy points. It feeds, it's a battery charger. It's almost like plugging in the car to electricity and it recharges the car. The sun is recharging us. As we know, when you sit in the sun, it has a lot of nutrients and minerals that come into the body, and the body recharges and rejuvenates. People are different when they are that live in a place that there's more sun. They're happier in a way, in a sense. Um, and then when the night comes, it's a different type of light. It's a different type of mood, a different type of energy, a different type of flow. So by the size, literally the size of how much light the sun releases, I mean the size, or in eichas or in kamas, which is actual a larger size, or in the type of a code, the type of vibration that comes out of it, that controls how much expansion and how much we understand and how far we can go, based on the energy, the energy that comes out from the sun, and what we're drawing from the sun and what we're connecting to the sun. So Kavah Shemesh is, talking about, the Zohar talks about it, about the Shemesh, but that's just what we need to know for now. But as soon as he enters into Chanan, Vayachlam v'hinei silam etzavar, so he goes into a dream. He has a dream. So the question is, first of all, why did he says v'hinei shamnitz of olive, and then then he wakes up. He says manoida makam hazeh. So the question is, the Zohar asks the question: Yaakov had to have a dream in order to see. He didn't see without a dream. So the answer is that it was before he was married. It was before he was married, and because of that, he was lacking. He wasn't able to see with only in a dream state, but he wasn't able to go into full prophecy yet. So he enters in a dream state. So we have to understand, which is that this whole existence, our whole experience, our whole reality that we're living right now is a dream. Everything is it's a dream state. It's something that we are, that is, there's a lack of light, there's a lack of sun, there's a lack of flow, there's a lack of consciousness of whatever we are present to and whatever we're understanding, what we're processing. And we also understand that Yaakov Avinu and Rachel Amenu were the mother, the brains of this consciousness, called Yisrael Yaakov, Yisrael, which is our consciousness and our program. So whatever he's experiencing there in a second or in a day is our experience for the next 3,000 years. This is what we're 3,500 years. That's what we're living with. Every move, every step he takes, every bitter that he's doing, if it's going through with the nukudim, birudim, akudim, with everything that he's processing, everything that is all for the future generations of Klal Yisrael. So we're having the dream. Now he has Veikas Yaakov Mishnasa v'yacham alchan yesh Hashem v'makam zeh v'nechol yedate v'yamer v'ira v'manoira makam zeh enze kim zeh shara shemayim. So he wakes up from his dream, and it says, I did not know that there is Hashem, that there is in this place. I did not know that there is Hashem. I had no lo yedati, there was no das, lo yoda. So what we're dealing with is over here is that every we have different as the neshama enters into the Olam Asiyah, we enter in a dream state. We enter in a space of unknown. We don't know, which means, as we're familiar with, that most of the issues that we're dealing with is because there's a lack of das, there's a lack of knowing, there's a lack of presence. Because when we know, there is no problems. How do we know? When we go to a simcha, when we're happy, then we know. And when we're in that space, we have no issues with anybody. The problem starts when we start forgetting, when we're going into the dream state, and that's the space from where we die also, because something that is in das, something that is present, something that knows, doesn't die. It lives on forever. So just like there is a part of us that goes back into the ground, but there's another part that moves on and goes on to the next mission and recycles. It comes back, or whatever it is that needs to be done. But he goes into, but then he realizes, even in the dream state, when he wakes up from that, because he wasn't able to see it while he was dreaming, But once he wakes up, he realizes that even while he's in a dream state, there is stuff happening all around him. There's something going on over here, which means that he found the Beis Elokim, and he found the portal to the Sha'ar HaShamayim. He found the connection, the umbilical cord that's connecting him to the Sha'ar HaShamayim. So even in the dream state, which he wasn't able to see, but once he goes into the dream and it's revealed to him, and then he wakes up. And we have to also understand that specifically it happened to him in a dream state, because we are all in a dream state. And if you had a prophecy, you had a vision, then we wouldn't be able to connect to it. But he is going into Haran to break it down to us. He's going on. He's experiencing. He's seeing the ladder. He's seeing the shtalshalas, the steps to go up and go down, which is, as he's processing that, he's downloading that into the consciousness for all of us, so we're able to understand the ladder of the Seder Shtalshalas, of the chain of events, how to take place, how we go up and how we go down, how that takes place. So he's going through this process. So for us to know this, for us to wake up to this, to go into that level of redemption within us from the exile and dream state that we're in. So what is the portal? Where is that portal that he found? So it's important to, when we come into this space, we're going in, as we drop into different Seder Shtalshalas, we go on different levels. We experience the process of forgetfulness, as we all know that we know the whole Torah. And then when we're born, the angel flicks on the upper lip, and we forget everything. So what is the Torah that we're learning? We're in like an incubator of aleph beis, of all the letters, all types of combinations that we're downloading, that we're familiar with, that's being downloaded in us. And then as we drop levels, we forget. We go into a more state of chaymer, of physicality, more metals, heavier. And the heavier we are, the less we start translating and differently what we understand, the combinations and the codes. So when we're born, we're still kind of open to it because we can't speak yet. We're still very present. A baby is very present. If you're nervous around the baby, it will start crying. If you're calm, it will be calm. It picks up whatever is happening in the house, and so on and so forth. And we still have this as we grow up, but we become immune to it, and we become forgetful. We don't understand how to process. We think we process with our brains, but really we're processing with the whole body. It's full of sensors, and we're processing and experiencing everything in feelings and in vibrations. But as we go further, we become going further into separation, where the ego comes in. There is judgments. How do I look? How do I feel? Am I short? Am I round? Am I success? We measure success from a state of a dream state, and we become completely isolated. Go into period and separation. Subjects become isolated subjects. But one of the ways to go back into, to wake up, to entering back to that space of das, to go into the space of the dream where Yaakov was, where he was revealed to him, is when we enter back into our child, when we go back to the inner child. So it's important to take a moment, and even now we all have our children, and we think that they don't understand. We talk to them like as if they are disconnected, like they're just 2 or 3 or 4 years old and they don't know. But really, they understand everything, because there is the truth is a stronger vibration that always dominates. It's always there forever, just like we said before, that Shabbos is the truth, the ultimate truth that's always there. The child it's always there. The inner child has its tunes, it has its purity, it has the innocence, and that innocence understands, and it's always connected to the higher vibration. It's always connected to the Sha'ar HaShamayim. So if you go back to when we were children, and when you asked something from your parents, or when your teacher and your rabbi told you something, and you felt like he spoke to you a certain way, but you had a certain feeling that you understood it differently, but then it was over, that message, that understanding, that thought had an override, that what do you know, is just a little child that doesn't know anything. But really, if you tap into that innocence, to that connection to the child that always knew, that is always connected, because he has a sense of, to me, was a sense of truth that is always there. He has just an instinct of truth, just like as we know that children don't hold grudges. You can be one way with them forever, but the minute you change, within 24 hours, they will turn around and they will respond exactly to where you're at. So one of the ways to get back into that, to connect to that portal, to the Shara Shemayim, to find the Beis Elokim, is by going back to that child and take one of the scenarios that you can remember where you were told that you don't understand, or you were told to be quiet, and to enter that space of how did you really feel at that time. Find the truth of how you really felt at the time. What was your truth, not what you were told or what was projected onto you, but really what did you really experience at that moment. And that should give us an awakening, a moment there, a spark that we can start building on. All we need is one seed, and then expanding on that, going into that seed of Chachma, giving birth to that moment, that flash of truth, the flash of knowing, and then from there, Bina, which is the Spashtas, opening it up, and then the left, from right brain to left brain, going into the heart, which has the 6 attributes, the 6 midas, and all the colors where we can expand, and then bringing that into Malchus, into the vessel that we're in right now, which is in the dream state and the goals, but yet finding the redemption and the Geulah within that space. All right. Have an awesome day.